just get it, let's do acres, okay? Green Mountain Power, I talked to them, we talked to them yesterday. They have, I think, 5 sites operating now that are 40 to 50 acres. 2 of them, or at least one of them, is on like an old gravel pit that has no growth, basically. So that's not very good. They're installing 3 more of these sites, and the guy that we talked to grew up with sheep, 350 sheep, you know, from the age he was born until he was 10. So he has a sense for sheep. Never really managed sheep, but in our conversation with him, he said, look, we want to be a good neighbor. That would be our motivation for doing this. It wouldn't necessarily cost us much or pay, but the main concern we have is safety. So for example, they have, for whatever reason, the way they manage these sites and the type of sites they are, one is a site with tractors. There's several sites that have batteries and have dispatch power capability, right? So complicated electrical stuff on site. They say they run somebody into that site every day. Okay? Every day somebody has to go into that site. So if there's sheep in that site, he's saying, look, I have one person going to that site, and when that person opens the gate, sheep run for the gate, maybe, or not. Or how does that one person close the gate? They need a dog. Exactly. Thank you for that dog. Yes. Right. And how do the sheep keep away from all this electrical stuff that to them is extremely valuable? How do their workers not get bumped in the rear end by a ram or whatever it is, right? They are very, very concerned about their equipment and about their worker safety. So how would all of that be accommodated? And then his other question was, look, just tell me, what are we looking at here? What's it going to cost me to do the whole site? Well, you know, we had to explain to him, this is grazing, there's ways that you do it, and you know, we can do it different ways. Top of which, the 3 new sites are all committed to pollinator friendly. And his understanding of pollinator friendly was that it was mowed 1 time a year in October. Okay? So how do you do grazing and still have pollinator friendly? So these are big sites. We're talking 5 existing sites, that one of which is a gravel pit, and 3 new sites, and maybe more to come. New sites are under construction this year. One of them is an old gravel pit site, so that's off the table. But still, you know, altogether, we're talking several hundred acres. So interesting conversation with them, and glad to sort of follow up with them and make the connection if we need to. Was there other stuff in that conversation?
No, those are big concerns, and I personally, I felt like all of them are not insurmountable. They're all could be dealt with. I don't see them as huge stumbling blocks. They're actually pretty minor. So I know they're major to him, but as someone who has grazed animals and worked with animals, they're pretty minor.
Yeah, and I mean, his thing was like, look, don't make it a hassle for us. We want to be good neighbors. He had somebody approaching him about one site,
He did.
but it was a tracker site, and therefore they were going to be fairly close to the ground at some points during the day, I think he said. It's an east-west single-axis tracker.
Megan, you
Well, just a comment as we progress through in the state about this potential for ecosystem services. It's a real game changer when all of a sudden you start to think about somebody like Green Mountain Power being incentivized to put more carbon in the ground and on those sites, and that would totally change the conversation.
It might. You know, that's a good question, because you'd have to do a whole life cycle assessment of like this thing, right?
Yes.
Versus this thing. I mean, you're going to drive those sheep around. There's a carbon footprint. Versus the mower to people.
But if they're sequestering
versus
it into if they're sequestering it on their sites.
right. Could they get
yeah.
the carbon credits on the soil?
Yeah.
Speaking to the safety concerns, that has been a big issue at the site where I'm working at SIT. I mean, they were very concerned about safety, about anybody that I'm working with, possibly bumping into their electrical wires on the, on the site and all that. And, for that reason, I had to sign a very scary liability contract. And so those are issues that I think are really important to try to figure out.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a very litigious culture. That's how everybody views things.